You're standing in the throne room of Alexandria 48 before Christ. The most powerful woman in the world just ordered the execution of her own husband. He's also her brother. Around you, Egyptian nobles stand frozen. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. Because everyone knows what Cleopatra XII is capable of when power is threatened. If you believe the documented records of history's most calculating rulers must be remembered, consider liking this video and subscribing. Your support unearths more accounts from the darkest corners of power. This isn't the Cleopatra you learned about in school. Picture this. The year is 51 before Christ. In the marble halls of the Ptolemaic palace, a 17-year-old girl stands beside her father's deathbed. Ptolemy XII, Auletes, is dying. His breath rattles. His skin has the gray pallor of approaching death. He calls for his daughter. Her name is Cleopatra XII. She's been educated in rhetoric, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy. She speaks 9 languages fluently. Ancient sources describe her as possessing extraordinary intelligence and charisma, though not conventional beauty by Greek standard. Her father's final decree is clear. She will rule Egypt jointly with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. He's 10 years old. According to Egyptian royal custom dating back millennia, she must also marry him. Here's what you need to understand about Ptolemaic Egypt. This dynasty wasn't Egyptian. They were Greek Macedonians, descendants of Ptolemy I, one of Alexander the Great's generals. For 3 centuries, they maintained power through one consistent practice: sibling marriage. Not occasionally, systematically. Brother married sister, uncle married niece. The family tree didn't branch. It twisted back on itself like a snake eating its tail. Genetic research on Ptolemaic mummies reveals the devastating consequences. Infant mortality rates approached 70%. Physical deformities were common. Mental instability ran through the bloodline like poison. But here's the brutal logic. If you marry your subjects, you create rival factions. If you marry foreign royalty, you create foreign influence. If you marry your siblings, power stays concentrated in one bloodline. Think about what this does to a person psychologically. You grow up knowing your future husband will be your brother. That your children will be products of incest sanctioned by tradition. That intimacy and family are political tools, nothing more. Cleopatra understood this perfectly. The marriage ceremony takes place 3 months after her father's death. She's 17. Ptolemy XIII is 10. Egyptian priests conduct ancient rituals. Incense fills the temple. Thousands of subjects watch as brother and sister become husband and wife, co-rulers of the wealthiest kingdom in the Mediterranean world. The marriage isn't consummated. He's a child, but that's not the point. The point is legitimacy. The point is maintaining the appearance of Ptolemaic continuity. The point is power. Here's what makes this especially disturbing. Cleopatra isn't a passive participant. Ancient sources, particularly Plutarch and Dio Cassius, make this clear. From the moment she takes the throne, she understands the game being played. Her brother is a tool, a necessary figurehead to satisfy tradition. For 3 years, she maintains the illusion. Coins minted during this period show both their faces. Official documents bear both their names. In public ceremonies, they appear together. She allows the fiction to continue because it serves her purposes. But behind the throne, something else is happening. Ptolemy XIII's advisors, men who served her father, recognize the threat Cleopatra represents. She's too intelligent, too charismatic, too ambitious. They begin consolidating control around the young pharaoh, pushing Cleopatra aside. By 48 before Christ, open conflict erupts. Cleopatra is forced to flee Alexandria. She gathers supporters. She builds an army. She prepares to reclaim her throne through force. Then something changes everything. Julius Caesar arrives in Alexandria, pursuing his rival Pompey after the Battle of Pharsalus. Pompey sought refuge in Egypt. Ptolemy XIII's advisors, trying to curry favor with Caesar, murder Pompey and present his severed head as a gift. Caesar is disgusted. Roman sources record his reaction. He wept at seeing Pompey's head, not from genuine grief, but from political calculation. Pompey was his son-in-law. The murder violated Roman protocol. More importantly, it revealed the Egyptian court's instability. Here's where Cleopatra demonstrates her brilliance. According to Plutarch, she has herself smuggled into Caesar's quarters rolled up in a carpet. Other sources say a linen sack. The method doesn't matter. What matters is the audacity. Caesar is 52 years old, the most powerful man in the Roman world. She's 21, an exiled queen with an army too small to retake her throne by force. She seduces him, not just physically. She seduces him intellectually. Ancient sources emphasize this. Caesar had access to countless beautiful women. What captivated him was her mind, her wit, her ability to converse on philosophy, politics, military strategy. Within months, she's back on the throne. But here's the thing. Ptolemy XIII is still alive, still her husband, still technically co-ruler. Caesar summons both siblings to appear before him. Picture the scene, the throne room in Alexandria. Cleopatra stands beside Caesar, the embodiment of Roman power. Ptolemy XIII stands opposite, a 14-year-old boy husband watching his wife align with a foreign conqueror. Caesar's solution is simple. Both will rule jointly, as their father intended. Nobody believes it. Within weeks, Ptolemy XIII's advisors launch a rebellion. They understand what's happening. Cleopatra has won. The boy pharaoh is now irrelevant. The rebellion isn't about principle, it's about survival. The Alexandrian War lasts 4 months. Caesar's forces, combined with Cleopatra's loyalists, crush the rebellion systematically. The decisive battle occurs at the Nile Delta in 47 before Christ. Ptolemy XIII's forces are routed. The young pharaoh flees in a boat. Ancient sources record what happens next with clinical precision. The boat capsizes. Ptolemy XIII drowns in the Nile. When his body is recovered days later, he's still wearing his golden armor. Caesar has the body displayed publicly, proving the boy pharaoh's death. Here's what should disturb you. The historical record is suspiciously convenient. The boat capsizes. The 14-year-old pharaoh drowns. His body appears just when needed to confirm his death. No investigation, no questions. Cleopatra is now sole ruler of Egypt, except she's not. Remember the Ptolemaic system. Co-rulership is required. Sibling marriage is required. Power must appear to be shared, even when it's not. So 12 days after Ptolemy XIII drowns, Cleopatra marries again. Her new husband? Her younger brother? Ptolemy XIV. He's 12 years old. Think about what this means. Within 2 weeks of her first brother husband's death, she's married to another child. Another co-ruler who exists purely as a political prop. Another sibling transformed into a tool of legitimacy. The ceremony follows the same ancient protocols. The same priests. The same rituals. The same fiction of Ptolemaic continuity. But this time, Cleopatra is pregnant. Cleopatra is pregnant. Ancient sources confirm this. She's carrying Caesar's child. In June 47 before Christ, she gives birth to a son. She names him Ptolemy XV Caesar, though history knows him as Caesarion. Little Caesar. Here's the brilliant cruelty of it. She's married to her 12-year-old brother. She's bearing the child of Rome's dictator. She's maintaining the fiction of Egyptian tradition while openly flouting it. She's making a statement that everyone understands but nobody can publicly acknowledge. Power has shifted. For 3 years, this arrangement continues. Ptolemy XIV remains nominal co-ruler. Cleopatra governs Egypt in reality. Caesar returns to Rome, but maintains the relationship. She even visits him in Rome in 46 before Christ, bringing Caesarion, scandalizing Roman society by openly displaying their child. Then March 15, 44, before Christ changes everything. Caesar is assassinated. 23 stab wounds in the theater of Pompeii. The political landscape fractures. Civil war erupts across the Roman world. Cleopatra returns to Egypt, understanding that her position is suddenly vulnerable. She needs to consolidate power. Ptolemy XIV becomes a problem. Here's what makes this especially sinister. The boy is now 15 years old enough to be manipulated by advisors, old enough to be used as a figurehead by Roman factions opposed to Cleopatra, old enough to threaten her control. In July 44 before Christ, 4 months after Caesar's assassination, Ptolemy XIV dies. Ancient sources record the death with suspicious brevity. Why? Ptolemy XIV died. No details about illness, no description of symptoms, no period of declining health. He's alive one day, dead the next. Then, almost immediately, Cleopatra elevates Caesarion as her new co-ruler. He's 3 years old. Think about the timeline. Caesar assassinated March 15. Ptolemy XIV dead by July. Caesarion declared co-ruler immediately after. The sequence is too neat, too convenient, too perfectly timed to Cleopatra's political needs. Roman historians were more explicit. Josephus, writing a century later, states plainly that Cleopatra poisoned Ptolemy XIV. Strabo suggests the same. Later, Byzantine historians treat it as established fact. Modern scholarship remains divided, but the circumstantial evidence is damning. Consider the pattern. 2 brother husbands. Both died when they became politically inconvenient. Both deaths suspiciously convenient to Cleopatra's consolidation of power. Both followed immediately by her installing a more controllable co-ruler. Here's what we know for certain. Cleopatra understood power in ways that terrified even Romans, who weren't squeamish about political murder. She recognized that Ptolemaic tradition required co-rulers. She recognized that male co-rulers, even children, created vulnerabilities. She recognized that the solution was to ensure those co-rulers remained utterly powerless or dead. The method doesn't matter. Poison was the likely tool. Arsenic was well known in the ancient world. Symptoms could be gradual or sudden. Death could be made to look natural. Ptolemaic rulers had been using poison for generations. What matters is the pattern. Think about the psychology required. Not just to kill, but to kill siblings, to marry children, to systematically eliminate anyone who threatened control, to maintain the fiction of shared power while ensuring absolute dominance. This wasn't passion. It wasn't madness. It was cold calculation. After Ptolemy XIV's death, Cleopatra ruled for 13 more years. She formed a political and romantic alliance with Mark Antony. She bore him 3 children. She nearly succeeded in creating an Eastern empire that could rival Rome itself. But here's the thing that should haunt you. The legendary seductress, the tragic lover, the exotic queen. All these romantic images obscure what Cleopatra actually was. A survivor in a system that destroyed most people who entered it. A ruler who understood that power required ruthlessness that transcended family, morality, conventional boundaries. She married 2 brothers. Both died when politically convenient. Both deaths allowed her to consolidate power. Both followed by immediate replacement with more controllable co-rulers. The historical record is clear. Cleopatra VII was brilliant. She was educated. She was charismatic. She spoke 9 languages. She charmed Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, the 2 most powerful men of her age. She was also almost certainly a murderer. Not the passionate crime of love kind. The calculated, systematic, political kind. The kind that poisons a 15-year-old brother husband 4 months after her main political ally is assassinated. The kind that elevates a 3-year-old son to co-ruler status, ensuring absolute control. Ancient sources tried to romanticize her. Medieval writers turned her into a tragic figure. Renaissance artists made her into a symbol of exotic sexuality. Modern Hollywood created the image of the doomed lover. But if you read the historical sources carefully, If you trace the timeline of deaths and marriages and power consolidations, a different picture emerges. A 17-year-old girl married to a 10-year-old boy, a 21-year-old queen who aligned with foreign conquerors, a 25-year-old ruler who systematically eliminated threats, a woman who understood that in Ptolemaic Egypt, family was just another word for rival. When Augustus Caesar defeated Cleopatra and Mark Antony at the Battle of Actium in 31 before Christ, he understood exactly who he was fighting. Not a romantic figure, not a tragic victim, a political animal who had survived in the most dangerous court in the ancient world for 2 decades. She chose death by suicide rather than capture. The Asp story is probably fiction. She likely used poison, the same tool she wielded against others. Even in death, she maintained control. Caesarion was executed shortly after. He was 17, the same age Cleopatra had been when she first took the throne. Augustus reportedly said, "Too many Caesars is not a good thing." The last of the Ptolemaic dynasty ended not with romantic tragedy, but with systematic elimination of potential threats, just as Cleopatra had practiced for 20 years. Here's what the history books won't tell you. Cleopatra's greatest achievement wasn't seducing powerful men. It wasn't speaking 9 languages. It wasn't her intelligence or charisma. It was survival. In a system designed to destroy rulers, in a dynasty where sibling marriage created genetic disasters and political instability, in a court where poison and assassination was standard tools, she survived for 22 years. And the cost of that survival was written in the bodies of 2 brother husbands who died when they became inconvenient. The question isn't whether Cleopatra ordered their deaths. The question is, what kind of system creates rulers capable of killing their own siblings for political advantage? And what it says about power that we've spent 2,000 years romanticizing the story. If this exposed a side of Cleopatra you've never heard before, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're going to keep uncovering the truths that history tried to bury behind romantic legends. Drop a comment with your thoughts and I'll see you in the next investigation.